In today's video, I address the question of going from 29% body fat down to 10% body fat here, and we're gonna talk about weight loss and fat loss without tracking calories. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Rivella from ProPhysique.com, and it's that time of year where I know a lot of people are gonna be interested in kind of getting some body fat off. So I'm gonna give you some tools right away that are gonna help you transition to a body composition that you're happy about. And I got a great question on my Instagram direct message. So guys, remember, go right here, go to my Instagram direct message. If you don't follow me, I'm not gonna see your message. I think Instagram has changed it. I've been finding my messages in weird places, so apologies if I've missed your message. So send me your messages there. You can also comment in the video below if you have a question. I like to, answer the questions there. But the idea is I got a great question with lots of detail on just how to lose body fat. And we're gonna talk about some philosophies around how you can do that without tracking calories and how that can be possible. And I'm excited because I'm gonna start a little bit of a fat loss phase myself to start the year off. I'm gonna start a walking challenge for 30 days. And that's gonna kick off the new year for me. And I'm excited about our transformation challenge that starts in February, where we do give away $25,000. Our last transformation challenge just ended. We are now providing like 50 training plans, including at home, at the gym, multiple days, intermediate, advanced. We're including meal plans that include like vegan options, vegetarian options, different calorie ranges. I think as many as like 40 or 50 of those now. And we keep adding to this library. So when you join the challenge, you get the community, you get all of that. The goal for me, guys, is to give you these tools to do this yourself. Fat loss, weight loss, body composition changes. This is all about self-discovery. So my channel is all about helping you guys get the tools. If you need a coach, I'm here for you as well. You can always reach out for a free consultation. But the idea is that we're gonna be in this body for the rest of our lives. And if you're not familiar with me, well, I'm 49 years old at this point, just had a birthday. Lifetime Natural, I consider myself a bodybuilder. I've competed in bodybuilding, but more than that, I'm a student of the human body, of the mind. I've gone back to school to study this stuff, and I've surrounded myself with really smart people over a course of a 12-year now coaching career. And my goal has always been to understand things. And the better I can understand them, well, heck, I can share that with you. And I think a lot of information is out there now, and it can be a little bit overwhelming, right? You hear about this diet, and you hear about that diet, and you hear about this fad, and this pill, and this shot. Guys, no, I've never done any of that stuff. I walk around at 49 years old at, pretty close to 10% body fat with very little effort, without tracking my calories, without doing fasting, without being carnivore, without being keto, without any extreme, okay? On any given day, I eat fast food, I eat Pop-Tarts. I don't do anything extreme. The hardest thing I probably do throughout the week is lift some weights, but all I do for cardio is walking. I stay active. I play sports with my kids and with my friends and stuff, but nothing extreme. So I want to address this question and give you guys some tools to really get things going. I had a DEXA scan and my stats are 260 pounds, 6'5", 75 pounds of body fat, 95 pounds of skeletal muscle. My resting energy intake is 2,300. I'm expending 3,700. So far I've lost 20 pounds without counting calories. That's awesome. Following a 4-day workout routine, 20 to 25 sets per muscle group. Walking 30 minutes on the treadmill 4 to 5 days a week. Eating 3 meals a day using hand portion method to avoid snacks. My goal is to reach 10% body fat by July, August in 2025 while balancing college life. Could you recommend an optimized approach for nutrition, cardio, training to help me achieve this goal? So I did some calculations. I actually found a pretty interesting website where you can type in your current weight, you can type in your current body fat percentage, and you can type in your goal body fat percentage, and it does the calculations for you. And I'll put a screenshot here for you to see. And it basically showed me that since you've already dieted down 20 pounds, you're well on your way. But it says that for you to be about 10% body fat, it's gonna be around 205 pounds. Now, a lot of people aren't prepared to hear that number. At 6'5", 205 pounds is, a lot smaller than you've been. At 260 pounds. Even at 6'5", people probably think you look completely normal. For someone that's 5'5", 260 pounds would be very obese. The taller we are, and I'm tall, I'm 6'3", I find that this is the case. And I think the first time I dieted down, I had this first realization too. My coach said, yeah, you're probably gonna be about 200 pounds on stage. And I was about 240 at the time, and I thought, I got a lot of muscle, I'm gonna be 220. No, getting shredded is a number that most of us aren't prepared to hear. We carry a lot more body fat than we think, right? We're much further away from 10% body fat than most of us realize. And so First things first, I did the calculation, and for you to get to about 205 pounds by July, we're looking at better part of 7 months. That's about 5 pounds a month, or 35 pounds. And so I think you're on a great pace. The first thing you asked was, can I help you come up with a plan? Now, the first thing you said was you're not tracking calories. You're using a portion control method. That is awesome. The first thing we have to do when it comes to losing body fat, when it comes to our nutrition, is finding a way to control the narrative of how many calories we eat. Now, for a lot of people, this can come down to a diet style, right? Fasting is very popular. The research is very clear. There's no benefit to fasting over calorie restriction if calories are equal, right? There's lots of benefits to fasting if it works better for you mentally, if you feel better, if your energy's better. I personally have tried fasting, didn't really enjoy it. And what I find is that through my natural rhythms, I typically fast about 11 or 12 hours a day. Why is that? Well, because I typically eat a pretty large meal around 7 p.m. I get up and do cardio in the morning, and I usually have my breakfast around 7 a.m. There's a 12-hour fast. My digestive system is humming. I feel great. So it just depends on what your rhythm of your day is like. But I will say this, the thing about fasting is that because you choose these windows, you ignore something called snacking. And you mentioned that in here. And I think for people that want to figure out what's causing obesity in the United States, listen, I'm 49 and I can remember a time when I was young going into stores, there were no snacks at the cash register. There wasn't snacks everywhere. And I think anywhere you go, anywhere that you're going to check out, at a restaurant, at a grocery store, at a convenience store. The other day I went to get something at the auto parts store and I was faced with candy and soda. And yeah, that sounded great. But if you don't have a goal, you're going to have a candy bar and you're going to have a soda, you're going to have a couple hundred calories. And so I think the availability of snacks is a big part of it. So using your cognitive abilities and saying, I'm not going to snack, is a huge part of this. So, you said, can I come up with a strategy for you as a college student? If I go back to my days as a college student, I'll say this. My food options were pretty limited because this was pretty limited, right? It wasn't like I was going out to eat at fancy restaurants or had the ability to eat a lot. I was eating based on my meal plan. I played baseball in college on scholarship and we had a meal plan. So I was able to eat there was 2 restaurants on campus that I could, I had a stipend at, or we had, like a buffet style restaurant. Now, as a 17, 18-year-old kid playing baseball, running, playing basketball, it didn't matter what I ate. I could not gain weight. However, if I had at that time needed to control my calories, I would have really focused around protein. Meaning every time I sat down to eat, I would have said, let me get in my maximum amount of protein. You're a big guy at 240 pounds. You can eat upwards of, 2 to 250 grams of protein a day. That's going to keep you nice and full. So that would be the priority, because you don't want to lose lean body mass. The calculations I give you of you getting down to 205 to reach your 10% goal, that's without the loss of any lean body mass. If you lose a few pounds of lean body mass, you're going to have to get even lower, and then you're going to end up looking a little bit softer because you don't have as much muscle. So again, focus on protein. That's step number 1. The other thing that I would focus on as a college student, and this is something that now that I've looked back on my life, I've realized where I made some mistakes. And one of the key mistakes I made was after college and even after my first job. My first job was waiting tables after college. But when I got my first real job, by real job, I meant I drove there, I sat at a desk and worked all day, I drove home. I would still go to the gym, but I easily packed on probably 15, 20 pounds of body fat over the next couple of years for one simple reason. I didn't walk anywhere anymore. In college, you're walking around campus. When I was waiting tables, I was walking around the restaurant. When you don't walk, it has a profound impact on the way you look, the way you feel. As soon as I figured this out, and this was a few years ago, I have been able to maintain a very lean physique with very little effort. Walking is magical. How many of you watching this video have ever gone on vacation? Maybe you went to Europe, maybe you went to a theme park, and you ate whatever you wanted. You drank whatever you wanted. You came home and you lost weight and you couldn't figure out why. As a coach, I hear this all the time. Hey coach, I'm going on vacation. I'm really worried that I'm gonna go off plan. I always say, just be more active. Most of us are very sedentary in our day-to-day lives. It's just called life. It's responsibilities. We don't have that. So when you can add in more activity and you're a college student, I would say be as active as possible. Look for opportunities in your day to move more. You know, if you are on campus and you have an option to walk to class, weather permitting, distance permitting, do that. Ride a bike, do that. Whatever you can do to be active and move more, it's going to just break down body fat for fuel. I heard somebody the other day say you shouldn't have something sugary before you do cardio because then your body won't use fat for fuel because it's got, you know, glucose or sugar in the bloodstream. This is absolute nonsense, okay? What causes us to use a fuel to be utilized for exercise? It's basic exercise physiology, guys. It's the first class they teach you. It's the intensity of the exercise. It's not the fuel that you just ate, okay? It's not as if you decide to go for a run and your body says, oh, it's what did we just eat? We're gonna use that for fuel. No, your body stores fuel. It stores energy. It's always doing this. So don't be too concerned about the form of exercise that you're doing and when you're eating. Focus more on the big picture throughout the day. Are you moving more and burning more than you're consuming? And that's gonna ensure that you're losing body fat. And this is why I love walking, because walking is so low impact. It's not gonna make you tired. It's not gonna make you fatigued. It also, preferentially, lower intensity, higher percentage of fat utilized for fuel. That has a few benefits. One of them being like a decrease in hunger. And, you know, when we do something that's highly glycolytic or, you know, you're using glucose for fuel, think of sprinting, running, anything explosive. When that's done, it's gonna increase your hunger. So although there are some benefits to high intensity cardio, there are also some issues with it if you're not really paying attention to your caloric intake. But ultimately, it just comes down to doing what you've been doing. You've set up a successful approach. I think what's gonna happen is when you start to struggle, when you start to hit sticking points, and you don't actually know how many calories you're taking in, that's when we're gonna run into a problem. I did a video a couple days ago, maybe a week or more ago, about how long it takes to lose body fat. And I did a whole graph. It took me a while. I had to do a bunch of math. And what I realized while doing this graph was that the less body fat you have to lose, the more detailed you have to be. When you carry a lot of body fat, it's pretty easy to get it off. But for men, once we start to approach that 15% body fat, there's not that much body fat stored on our bodies. So it's easier to maintain it and it's harder to lose it. There's less of it. So as you are having success with what you're doing, that's great. I would start, even now, downloading a nutrition app, okay? And just start plugging in what you're eating on a given day, just so when you hit a sticking point, you can say, okay, maybe I should either decrease this calorie, this carbohydrate, this fat, something of that regard, or increase my activity. There is gonna be a requirement for a little bit more accountability, I believe, to get to 10% body fat. The only way that you can overcome that is if you just move so damn much that it becomes easy. Now, what I did last year, I walked every day 60 minutes. After being pretty sedentary, I woke up every morning and walked for 60 minutes on my treadmill. It might not sound like much, but that's every day, Monday through Sunday. Days that I didn't want to, days that I had to work, days that I had to take the kids to school, days that I had to travel. I made sure I got 1 hour walking on the treadmill every day. And I documented it. You can see day by day what's going on in that video. The purpose of that was I didn't really track my calories. And I didn't, things changed in my lifestyle that month. I didn't drink as much alcohol. So I did technically change things, but I didn't track. And the point for me was that by doing that cardio, I was finding myself more motivated to be a better person throughout the day regarding my fat loss goals. Lo and behold, I think I lost 8 pounds that month, 7, 8 pounds, might've been a little bit more, but the body composition change was quite drastic. So this is kind of what I would say to you. If you want to keep your nutrition the same and that's good for you, just overexert yourself on the activity. Walking is the most powerful fat loss tool, diet and walking. The reason I say walking is so powerful, because it positively impacts the diet. I don't know that the diet positively impacts your walking, which came first, right? But the point here is that as a college student, being consistent with your meals, if you're using something like a meal plan, focusing on your protein, I would suggest getting a little bit more familiar with your calories as you go, but over indexing on the activity is going to be a part of it. While you're young, while you have less responsibilities, take advantage of that. For me, to get more activity, and I had to get creative, I had to buy a treadmill, put it here in my office, because it's not like I have the time right now to like leave the house every time I want to do some cardio. Having it here means I can literally roll out of bed, do cardio, take a shower, and be at work. Before most people are up, I've already done cardio, showered, and eaten. And then I'm going to work when most people are getting up and they're complaining that they just don't have enough time. I promise you, you have more time than me, and I get it done. All right, guys. Hopefully this is helping you guys. And don't forget, the Transformation Challenge is going to be kicking off. More details to come on that. We don't have anything to give you just yet, but I'd love to get you guys involved because it's going to be a big one. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow.